my life and moving on. I met, fell in love, and married the girl of my dreams. Knew her since high school and can honestly say it was love at first sight for me. We married, had 2 beautiful daughters, and I felt and often said to myself how lucky I was. The marriage was open and honest, and I considered her my best friend. At about year 7 her father passed away and there was an immediate change. She became distant, cold, uncaring, uncommunicative, and angry all the time. I was quickly moved from priority 1 in her life to last place just behind the dog. My attempts to try and support her only seemed to build resentment toward me. I offered to go to MC. She said no. I thought this all had to do with the death of her father. The birth of our second daughter, perhaps. And with time she would be okay and then we would work on us. It didn't work that way. She would lash out at me, belittle me, and basically punish me to make herself feel better. When my friend passed because brain cancer and I tried to talk to her about it, she laughed at me. Then more weird stuff. New clothes, new haircut, started eating better. Started going out on her own and so on. Well, at the time again though, this was just a phase. As many of people here will recognize, the truth is, she was having an affair and it had nothing to do with any phase. I couldn't see it, and even when I found proof on her phone, I just couldn't believe it. The whole house of cards came tumbling down. The world that I thought was true wasn't. She didn't love me at all. Admitted that she never really had. She left our family for the other man and filed for divorce. I was heartbroken. I didn't deal well. I am ashamed to say that I became very promiscuous, trying to feel better about not being good enough. I started drinking too much and not taking care of myself. In the end I was encouraged to seek personal counseling, which isn't thought of highly in my profession, but I knew I needed help. I wasn't being the single dad I needed to be. I went to a specialist that only works with police, fire, military, and EMS, basically type of men and women. What I learned was profound and really helped me move on with my life in a more positive way. What she, the counselor, helped me see was that my marriage was not perfect, never was. I have always been very protective and helpful by nature. When I met XW, she was extremely damaged. She has a host of daddy issues, had cheated on one boyfriend in high school, another in college, got married and cheated on that husband, and then after that divorce we reconnected. I knew all of this up front. Of course she had her sob story about how they were mean and didn't care about her. Ironically, the same crap she spews about me, I have no doubt. So, I have presented to me a damsel in distress, and I think, well, if I love her enough, I can fix her. So, I married her and ended up with a distressed damsel. So, all this pain, doubt, burden, anxiety, and guilt for my kids that I had built up was crushing me. But the day I said out loud, well, I picked her, it diminished. I had a part in all this. Not her cheating or how she treated me or our kids being hurt, but I was presented with all of what she was, and instead of saying, oh hell no, I'm not going to be the next idiot, I married her. The guilt of what I had done to myself is what was tearing me apart. I don't know why this worked for me. You would think it would have the opposite effect, but it was so liberating. I was able to let go of so much anger and pain. When it creeps in and I think about all that was taken from me or being cheated on, in our marital bed, mind you, I feel the pressure boil. I just think, well, you picked her, dummy, and it dissolves. I never dismiss her personal responsibility in any of this. I have just come to terms with my part of it. I see much pain here. Lots of people here were cheated on, and I feel for you. I get it, you know that I do. I see some others trying to understand it. Don't bother until this happens to you. You'll have no idea the pain that is involved. If there were red flags and you saw them and ignored them, maybe taking some accountability will help you like it helped me. Life can improve on the other side. My kids are fine. I'm fine. I have a wonderful new girlfriend. If this can help even one person, I am happy. By the way, she is not with the OM. He dumped her like yesterday's garbage, as I told her he would. He was also married and cheated with other girls at the office. She has made a mess of her life. She will have much to make up for with our children, as she has hurt them the most. To the best of my knowledge, she isn't seeing anyone. Maybe still carrying on affairs with guys at work, who knows. So long as my kids aren't involved, don't care. I don't pay alimony. I made out okay in that realm because I had some leverage to get her and her old man affair fired if she pursued it. I was very lucky. She is a mom. I will never ever think of her as good. To me, being a parent is about being selfless. You put your own wants and sometimes your own needs aside for your kids. That is parenting to me, and I can see no other way. She doesn't believe that. She believed then, and still does today, that her job and her own wants come before the kids. In the end, only 2 people who can say if she is a good mom or not, and that will be my 2 daughters. But I will never consider her a good one, and have told her as much. As much as I despise her, she is the mother of my kids, and I have been able to get over much of what has been done to me. It is still lingering, what was done to my kids. I guess maybe it's not karma so much I am looking for, to be honest. I guess I would hope for an honest and sincere apology one day. No, it wouldn't change anything, but to hear the acknowledgement that she did something horrible and purposefully wrong would be nice. But I don't believe she feels that way, and it will never come, but it would be nice. Story 2. I've been dating a man for about a year. Overall, It's been a pretty good year. He's somewhat immature in that he likes to call me silly names at times. Sometimes we'll have to go a couple of days without seeing each other and he goes into this depressive funk about it. His texts will be short with not much conversation, etc. After a day or two of this, he'll become all expressive and tell me how it's just that he misses me so much. He doesn't like going days without seeing me, etc. We've had conversations where I tell him that it bothers me when he does this and I start feeling pressured. I already have a lot on my plate. He knows this and has said it's something he's willing to put up with, but when he acts like this, I start feeling pressured. If I get the least little bit upset about something, his first reaction is, "You're not breaking up with me, are you?" In a lot of ways, he's been a good man. He's helped me out with some things on my property and financially. I kind of feel like he might be a bit of a KIS though as well. I kind of have a gut feeling that he may have a temper, though I've never really seen it in the last year with anything to do with me. My concern is what happens when the new wears off and the everyday frustrations set in that happen in any relationship. He's not very busy. I feel like he does just sit around waiting for me to be available. When we text during those days, we don't see each other. I'll ask him what he's doing and his text will literally be like no or something similar. One word, that's it. I'm early 40s and he's mid 30s. I had a long-term marriage and he's had a few kinds of long-term relationships. Neither of us drink very much at all. An example this evening. Usually on Friday evenings we go out to dinner, maybe run errands or window shop. Then we'll go back to his house, maybe watch some TV now that the weather is getting cooler. Well, I was sick this week and just felt like hanging out at my house with my kids and having dinner at home. He came over for dinner but hardly paid any attention to me at all. He touched my dog more than he touched me. When things are fine, he's very affectionate. When asked if something was wrong, he of course said no, that I was being silly. Nothing's wrong and I did too touch. That one time at the table, we laid on the bed and talked a little about a project we've been planning on doing tomorrow. Then he said he better go. So, he was here maybe an hour and a half. Kissed me once on the lips, the only time all evening, and the forehead, and left. Hasn't texted me to let me know he's home. I'm not stupid. I know he was acting withdrawn and cool towards me, but when pressed if anything was wrong, was told of course not. He doesn't have any long-term friends, and frankly some of his comments as to why make me wonder. I feel a lot of pressure at times to see him more, but when he gets upset about anything, he withdraws a lot. Then tells me it's all in my head. He's made comments before like this is the first really functional relationship he's ever had, and this is the first time he's ever wanted to practice being unselfish with a woman. Those kinds of things make me wonder about what things would be like long-term. Most of the time when we're together, and that's the key, things are really good. It's when we're not together that I wonder. I'll be thinking about him through the day and text him a kiss. He'll text back with lol or the smiley with his tongue sticking out. I think it stems from some immaturity really, which kind of concerns me. He came over today to work on our project today and it actually was a very good day. We talked about last night and he said he was upset with something we had talked about yesterday, but he didn't want to be angry with me. So, he thought it best to not say anything until he had put his thoughts together and could talk about it calmly. So, then I felt bad for feeling like I did last night. The things that bother me the most are his calling me silly names all the time, feeling pressures to see him more. I'm in grad school and he knew this when we started dating, and then his withdrawing so much when we don't see each other for a few days. But are those terrible things? Not really. Half a year later, just seem to get so frustrated at times with this relationship. He came over yesterday and we ran some errands. Had a good time doing it and he kept saying he couldn't wait to get back to the house for some alone time, etc. We laughed and flirted and just had a generally great time. I stopped by the grocery store and he decided to stay in the car and take a little nap. He gets up super early, which was fine with me. I get back to the car and it's like his whole personality has changed. He said he would probably go home when we got back to my house. I had thought he was going to stay the night. We get back to my house, he helps me get stuff inside and then, sure enough, he leaves. Later on, last night he's texting me how much he misses me and that he loves me and he hopes I really love him. Then he starts asking about staying the night tonight. Today is his birthday. He's been jokingly saying he was just going to spend the day alone. I told him last night he couldn't stay tonight because I'm going to study with some people for my classes. So, I wake up this morning and text him happy birthday. I ask him what time he's coming over and he says I don't know. So, I just said let me know when you do. I really enjoy our times together. It seems that I'm most frustrated when we're not together. He'll joke about stupid stuff like I'm too busy for him, or if he texts me while I'm teaching and I don't get back right away, he jokes that I've abandoned him. I guess those things kind of trigger me in that my previous LTR did the same thing. If I didn't answer a text within a certain time frame, then I was obviously ignoring him or worse, cheating on him. I really do want to end this relationship. I think it's more frustration than enjoyment in the long run. I haven't done it yet because honestly, I didn't want to do it right at his birthday. I know there's just no good time really. Now we have the holidays coming up and all. I'm just at a loss. How can I enjoy our time together so much and yet be so frustrated about the relationship when we're apart? We usually go out every Friday night. That may not happen due to various things, but it does most of the time. He texted me pretty frequently last night. It's just weird. He'll tell me how he enjoys being with me and my kids and how he's lonely at home by himself, but then he leaves at 5. It's now 11 a.m. here and I haven't heard anything else from him. I'm kind of doubting he's going to come over today, and I'll be damned if I'm going to go chasing him down and begging him to come over just so I can prove to him how much I love him. I know that's what he's thinking. I don't get the feeling that he's competing with my kids. He seems to genuinely enjoy playing with them and spending time with all of us. I truly think he's just used to living alone and doing what he wants when he wants. I think he just decided he was too tired to deal with kids last night and just wanted to go home where it was quieter. I definitely think he's immature. You are so correct in that I should trust his actions over his words. It kind of infuriates me how he'll turn that back around on me at times. I know if he doesn't come over today and I say something about it tomorrow, that he'll turn it around and say he didn't want to force himself on me and I wasn't clear enough that he could come over when he knows that he has an open invitation to come over whenever he likes. He can tell I'm upset and is backpedaling now, says he didn't come over earlier because he thought he would come over after I studied, have dinner and stay the night. He called me and I just asked him to respect my space for not wanting to talk about things right now like I did at an earlier time for him. He's texting about how he's worried now that I don't want to be with him anymore. And honestly, this is frustrating for me. Just because someone gets upset about something doesn't necessarily mean they want to end the relationship, and I think it's crazy to always jump to that conclusion. He'll try to be verbally manipulative if I try to do it that way, and I don't really want to deal with that. I think he's making up the stuff about coming for dinner and a movie so he can say, see, I was planning on coming. Now it's your fault that I can't. He's sorry he's hurt my feelings. That really bothers him. Again, he's backpedaling now because he knows I'm upset. Says he needs to work on how he expresses himself to me. Frankly, I think it's a bunch of bullcrap because he's afraid I'm going to break up with him and he doesn't want to be alone. That's what it really boils down to. He doesn't want to be alone but still wants to do things the way he wants. I know he likes me and enjoys spending time with my kids, but he's selfish. There are always things that happen that give me pause. Yesterday while we were out, we got stuck in a very long line of cars getting out of a parking garage. We were waiting for quite a while. It was pretty frustrating. He said that he was glad he was with me because I helped keep his temper calmer. That gives me pause. Yeah, it might help right now while things are new, but in a few years when he's comfortable, I don't think it will be the same. I don't think he'll keep his temper in check after some time together. I could be wrong, but do I really want to hang around and find out? Not really. He keeps texting now things like he hopes I feel like he's a good boyfriend. He didn't mean to hurt my feelings. It upsets him when he hurts my feelings, etc. The fact is, he knows I'm upset now and is trying to backpedal because he's afraid I'm going to break up. Like I said, I think it's a matter of he's a bit immature and selfish. He's been used to living alone and doing what he wants when he wants, which I totally understand. But seriously, today is his birthday. He's been joking all week that he was going to just spend it alone. If that's what he wants, that's fine with me, but it's not the kind of relationship I want. I wanted him to stay the day yesterday and spend the night. But that didn't matter yesterday. About a year later, in the beginning of the relationship, I found out that he was still on a dating site looking for friends. A friend of mine struck up a conversation with him on the site and he did admit he had a GF. I confronted him about it. Intending to break up with him, we had a long conversation about friends of the opposite gender. Honestly, I could understand opposite gender friends if it's someone you've known for a long time. Maybe since you were kids, etc. But to strike up new friendships just isn't cool, you know. And we seemed to be on the same page about it. He said that our relationship was the most stable relationship he'd ever had and it was hard to break the habit of having a backup plan, his words. We talked some more and I fell for it all and decided to give him another chance, but be cautious. He isn't aware that I know the passcode for his phone. It's always been locked and I've never asked about it. And I've checked it periodically and there's been nothing there. I feel terrible about being sneaky like this but don't trust him completely. Well, I checked it yesterday and his browser was open to the personals on Craigslist and there were a few lines of texting to someone with just a number. The texts were, "Hey, you up? Why aren't you texting me anymore? I was thinking about chilling. I just don't understand it. So, I definitely have to break up with him now? I'm just so disappointed and upset. We've gotten along so well and my kids love him. He's been very helpful around my acreage and house. What's my next step? Do I just break it off without an explanation? Do I fess up to checking his phone? What do I do? I waited till we were dating about a year before he met my kids. I have my kids full time and wasn't liking spending so much time away from them just to see him. I was long-term minded with him. I do love him and he says he loves me. He treats me well in every other respect. And the stupid thing I really don't understand is he knows I'm available to him whenever he wants, but he'd rather flirt to some stranger on the phone. What the duck? I keep his dog most of the time during the day for him. I'm thinking about just taking his dog back to his house and leaving him a Dear John letter so I don't have to talk to him again. That way he can't try to be manipulative. I don't answer my phone or any texts. Is that being a coward? I knew I wouldn't have a chance to take his dog back today and was planning on doing it tomorrow. Now he's texting me and saying how he hopes I'll love and want him forever and how much he loves what we share. I so badly want to just lay into him, but I still have his dog and would have to see him again. So, I did it. Got rid of him. Now I feel sick to my stomach. Why is it so hard even though I know he's a jerk? Extra bonus story. Before reading this, keep in mind I want advice. Not a lecture of how bad I am. I understand the magnitude of what happened. My wife and I have been married 8 years. We have a beautiful baby daughter. People think we are the best couple in family. But our marriage is broken and one-sided as far as I can tell. It's marred in her nasty mood swings which I can't handle anymore, nor would she admit until just this week. It's all me doing everything she doesn't like to do and avoiding her so I don't feel bad about myself. I do all the cooking, all the cleanup, changing and feeding the baby, everything. I get up, get the baby ready for the day, feed her. Go to work, come home, clean up the house, cook, clean up, put the baby to bed, then I can relax at about 8:30 p.m. all while dancing around passive-aggressive attitude to make me feel bad about myself and wear me down. I've had no desire to make love to my wife for the past 2 years. My family, like mother and father, are practically barred from coming to the house. They get their token visits twice a year. I hate every aspect of it. This is my life. I've tried to speak to her about all of this many times and get nothing but attitude and grief for suggesting there is a problem. In fact, she accuses me of doing what she does, which is a blatant lie. This has been going on for 4 or 5 years minus the baby part. Usually, these conversations end in accusing me of being a nasty body part to which I won't mention. Recently I fell deeply in love with a woman whom I've worked with and know very well. I was clueless and never saw it coming. One day, I noticed her very differently. That was the end of me. This woman is the most beautiful woman in the world in every way, and I'm not exaggerating. A beautiful soul. We've been having an awesome relationship, affair ever since, and it's based on a friendship from the beginning. I can't stop thinking about her. We love each other like crazy people and it makes me very sad we can't be together. We were made for each other. My wife found clear evidence we were communicating outside work early in the affair, and it wasn't flattering. I thought she was going to call it quits right there but didn't. She was livid, felt cheated and is suspicious but doesn't totally think this person would be with me. I told it was over. It wasn't and she found more evidence. It hasn't been pretty since. After the first time she caught us. Perfect. I thought, this is a great intervention. We could go to couples counseling. I'll admit it. I'll call the affair off. We'll sort out the original marital issues and just maybe we can move forward. No dice. She refused counseling to the most significant crack in our marriage, me involved with another woman. We discussed it many times and the writing were on the wall, no. After the second time she caught me, we agreed to go to counseling. We've even had our first session. Since this, she has made one concession after some long teary conversations. She isn't as nasty as she used to be. I'm not convinced this will last. I have also drawn a boundary. I will not go back to the miserable life I've lived for the past 4 years. And I mean it too, it's not negotiable. Before my daughter was born, I had seriously considered leaving my wife. She got pregnant. I thought I could last until my daughter finished high school, then leave. Now, I feel like it's too little too late on my wife's behalf. It took another woman to get her attention and believe how terrible my life was. This makes me angry as I never would have gone down that road in the first place had my life been remotely fulfilling, not filled with nastiness but normal behavior. I want to do this right. My questions are, how much longer should I give this last kick at the can? Am I giving this marriage everything it deserves before I call a lawyer? If I haven't given it everything it deserves before calling a lawyer, what do I need to do make sure every stone is turned? At least once a month for the past 4 years I've been bringing up how I can't handle the behavior. She brushed it off as me being difficult. She had heard everything many times. When we were at the therapist's office last week, I reiterated again and she said, "Oh, I didn't realize how much it affected you." This was the first time she admitted to doing this to me. Additionally, I also put down a new boundary and said, "No more, I will not live like that again." Since then, she's been behaving nicely but I can already see some cracks and I think she's just changed it from that to tears whenever she wants the same effect as before. I'm suspicious. My wife knows nearly everything. She found very unflattering emails. Very unflattering. Yes, I recognize she's not the nasty person she was 2 months ago. and I tell her that nearly every day. It's like someone recovering from post-traumatic stress disorder can't just believe everything is safe and be happy. That's where I am right now, and that's why I'm here asking for other people's insight. My comment: you guys got any advice for the last OP? I barely post stories about men confessing about their affairs, and maybe there's some good insight in here. Comment down below how you feel, sub and bell, and I'll take a quick nap before making another video.